sunny Southern California, where I think the temperature is in the 60s today. You know, I'm looking out my window here and in the morning in my house, and the bird feeder has been frozen solid now for the last 4 weeks, and no signs of thawing. So I envy you. But I also have Jeff Ford, our project manager, on the call, one of our project managers. It seems that every time I do this presentation, there's always somebody from IT or engineering with a question that stumps the band, and we're prepared for that as well. The title of the presentation is Enhance Your Business with ALPR. Not quite sure if it's the right heading, but it's in response to our sales agency out in Southern California, Bassett Sales, and I thank him for this because they put out a survey to certain consultants and users and dealers trying to get a better understanding of the myths and rumors and where the state of license plate recognition is. So the next 30 or 40 minutes is going to be an attempt of INEX to address this and to clarify what we do, what we don't do, and how we do it. So having said that, let me move forward. And a little bit about the agenda, who we are, what we are, our core competency, the 3 major markets that probably account for all of our business, a little bit of the state of the technology, ALPR technology, and ALPR stands for Automatic License Plate Recognition, commonly called LPR, License Plate Recognition, or if you're on the other side of the pond in Europe, NPR, Number Plate Recognition, all the same thing. We'll talk a little bit about the integrations and how we send data to various clients and why, and then a little bit about the installation and maintenance of the system. Our mission statement, who we are. We design, we develop, and we manufacture our own license plate recognition products. That includes the hardware, which is made in our factory in Israel, in Tel Aviv, our software, which we design here in the States and in Israel, and various applications for how we manage the data. Our company, again, offices in the USA, in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's where Jeff Ford is located. Offices in Israel, Austria, New Jersey, etc. We have a global footprint. We've been around about 20 years. Seen a lot of developments within the world of license plate recognition. What we do, we have about 80 or 90 products. We'd like to think we are state-of-the-art. I know this sounds like a little advertising, but what we do, very simply, is we capture that image, 5Z0L406, and we convert it into data, actionable data. Technology we use is a root engine called OCR. I'm sure you've heard of that, optical character recognition. It is used for the last 25, 30 years in fax machines and barcoders and scanners and all sorts of other devices. And the technology, the root building block technology, is recognizing patterns through image contrasting. So we use that, and we've taken that to the next level with our software algorithms because we have so many different types of license plates, so many different types of deployment scenarios. And this year being 2014, last year actually, we've developed our next generation of algorithms. So in addition to reading a license plate, we can now determine shapes, colors, vehicle types. So for example, we can not only read the license plate of a red Corvette, but we can say red and we can say Corvette. Marketplaces that we serve, well, let's talk about the marketplaces first. In 2008, the global marketplace, according to HIS research, for license plate recognition was about $119 million. That was a short 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago. By the end of 2012, it reached $350 million, significant increase. And in the next few years, it's going to be over can't get my numbers right, $800 million. It's the fastest growing technology both in the law enforcement world, public safety, and the private world being private universities, hospitals, corporate buildings, etc. It has become a cost-effective solution in security, and we'll go to explain how. Some vehicle recognition solutions and marketplaces in the access control world. The IZ server products will actually control the gate. There's a gated community there in Palm Desert, California, where the license plate reader system is being utilized to actually open the gate. In public law enforcement and security, we have mobile and fixed products. The solution there is for matching a vehicle against a vehicle of interest list and alerting, notifying when we do have a match for an Amber Alert, etc. In parking, that's the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, I believe, and it's used for being tied into revenue management systems to match the car, the plate ticket, and the license plate. We have both mobile and fixed in those two of those three applications. What I'm going to show here is the closest thing to an on-site demonstration. So when I turn this on, we're showing a gate, and we're showing a vehicle approaching the gate. We're showing the license plate number being read. It was matched against a white list, and the gate opens up. So again, 67-139-50 is on the white list. The action that's overlaid on the screen shows that the gate is open. We're showing the ID that's attached to that, and the sequence goes on rapidly within a couple of hundred milliseconds of the plate entering the target zone. Okay. Some benefits in access control applications. First and foremost, as I said, we can open a gate based on a license plate number match. What that means is we're functioning as a card reader, either as an alternate credential. Suppose a customer had a Tyco or a LENEL or a PCSC or an AMAG access control system. Our system would function as a card reader with a weekend converter, and we would function as an alternate credential. So not only in certain times of the day, if the badge ID is not presented, the gate would open up based on a license plate number. Alternatively, we can function as a dual credential, which means that not only does the badge ID have to be presented from a LENEL or a Tyco, etc., but it has to marry up to the license plate, providing an extra level of security. When we function as a card reader to any of our client partners, it is our client system, which is the command and the control, the operation of our system. It's an additional layer of security, and it can be combined with all sorts of traditional RFID and badge ID systems. And I might add, anyone who knows about RFID type systems for cars, those are typically, I think the retail cost for an end user is somewhere north of $15 a vehicle. There is no charge for the license plate in the system, at least bared by the end user. Security applications, most important, it's a preventative application. Most security systems on campuses, whether it be a college or a university, regardless of how many video cameras you have, you may have 300, 400, 500, 1,000 cameras on the system. The primary purpose of that system is to record all events so that if there's an incident, you have to go back and try to understand who your suspect is or what happened. With a license plate reader system and creating a database of license plate numbers, you're preventative. By that I mean you can identify ahead of time what we call a vehicle of interest. What's a vehicle of interest? Well, there's some obvious examples there. A wanted felon, an Amber Alert, a stolen vehicle. However, we have a golf course in Texas where the vehicle of interest is a listing of VIP customers. And when they enter the gate and the car is registered, by the time they get to the gatehouse about a minute later, Scotch and order's waiting for them. So there's all sorts of creative applications for identifying a vehicle. Back in the security world, by being able to be preventative, you can actually ensure that the bad guys are not on your campus or your facility. Another category here, instead of Amber Alerts, would be terminated employees. And probably the second bullet, I think, is more important than the first, according to a lot of end users. But if you're creating a database of license plates and images and data, and if you have a hospital and there was an incident at 3 in the morning, and the victim can only remember the last 2 letters or the first letter of the license plate, or, for that matter, the color of the car, you can go into your database that you've been collecting information on, and you can pare down a suspect list and say, give me a report of all vehicles with license plates ended in the number 21 or 18.
Jack?
And you have a, I'm sorry, go ahead. We have a question.
Yes, we do. We do. We have a question from Sean Bryan. Sean,
Finally, I can stop talking for a second.
Yeah, just
Thank
a second.
You, Sean.
So let me unmute Sean, and he can ask his question. Sean, you are on.
Yeah, Roman, the question is, does the INEX ZAMIR'S system integrate with an access control platform such as like LENEL or AMAG, or does it have to be a standalone?
Excellent question. We have currently 42 separate integrations with our clients in the access control and video management world. And again, when we function as an interface system, we send data to our client. They manage the system. However, we have a small access control application that we can provide on our system, and a few slides down the road here I'll show some block diagrams where we can function as a standalone system. It's not an enterprise level, and it's not going to handle 10 or 20,000 vehicles, but for a few hundred vehicles with a simple white list, black list, red list, yes, we can do that. We function one of 2 ways.
Okay, and in that integration method, does that OCR data become a Wiegand string of data?
Yes, we utilize, yes, another excellent question. You've done this before. Yes, we function in the alphanumeric world. By utilizing the Wiegand converter, yes, we will function, we'll convert it to a numeric value, and the 4-wire Wiegand converter will open the gate.
Excellent.
But everything is, the white list, the black list, it's all administered by the client in an interfaced application.
Right.
And you can program that. I talked about dual credential or alternate credential. You can set up, we've got deployments where a factory between 7 and 9 in the morning, all bets are off. They want to use the fast lane, and it's the license plate that opens up the gate between those hours. All other hours, it's the badge ID that opens up the gate. So you can set all kinds of rules if you'd like. Also, in gated communities, we'll have it where the syntax of a municipal vehicle, such as a police car or an ambulance, will automatically open up the gate whether they're on a white list or a black list.
All right. I guess, Sean, is there anything else? And I definitely will send you the clip that was shown.
Okay, no, that's it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
My pleasure. All right, so now we're moving from security and what we can do in security-type systems onto parking applications. What we're showing here is our head-end parking system, and in this particular case, we're trying to show some mapping capabilities of where the vehicles might be and where the car might be. This is not populated, so I can't really show this in too much detail. But in the parking world, pay parking, I might add, yes, we do have partners, SKIDATA and Amano and Scheiten-Bachmann and Tibia and some others. Again, we send data to them. In the parking world, fraud prevention and swap tickets and sorting out who can park where at what hour, like in hospital lots and college lots and permit parking. All of that can be done because the vehicle license plate is a device that most people are not going to switch from one car to another. We can provide aging reports, how long a vehicle has been in the facility. With our mobile license plate reader systems, we can actually pinpoint where a vehicle is located. So if you come back from Acapulco and you parked at Burbank Airport or John Wayne or a few of the others in your neck of the woods, we have systems. You don't remember where your car is. You enter the license plate number into the system, and the system will say you're in parking garage A, and you're on level 5, you're on row 18, you're on the left side, there's 20 vehicles in that row, one of those is yours. Quick ROI with access control. The cost per lane is certainly comparable or much less than vehicle tag systems. Most of our sales in the gated communities in the Palm Desert, Indian Wells area was all about large gated communities with hundreds, if not thousands, of vehicles using RFID tags. It was a very simple cost justification. Security, we covered that. Pay parking, it's important to note that parking facilities where you pay, those are the largest revenue generators in airports anywhere in the country. If you go to Chicago or Atlanta, New York, they charge $38 a day plus to park the car, and they openly admit that if you do that times 30, 40,000 parking spaces, it quickly comes into several $100 million a year in revenue. And there's all sorts of shenanigans and swapping tickets and lost tickets and ways people try to beat the system. And the parking, the license plate reader system, is an easy justification for that. End users, it's a good cross-section of folks in the military. It's a military National Guard facility in Georgia, upper left. I think that's the Vintage Club in Palm Springs, California, very exclusive community. There's a Phoenix Airport in Phoenix, Arizona in the middle. Then on the right, we've got a pharmaceutical corporate headquarters with access control. And we have a highway down here in Florida. I think that's the Lee Highway. And then we've got the Safe Cities at Long Island where you've got law enforcement installing systems. Who's benefiting? It's a quick little advertisement of some key corporate end users. This is an old chart, but it kind of shows the cross-section of universities and other users. Inside ALPR, important block for those that are technical that want to know how does the system operate. 3 components: our imagers that we manufacture, our processors that we manufacture the outdoor units. The imager is a machine vision device operating at 240 fields per second, which means that speed does not affect our ability to capture a license plate. Also, we have various cut filters and various technologies incorporated in our LEDs that are pulsating in varying speeds so that light, our images are not light sensitive at all. We operate at 0 lux. So speed and light don't affect us, which means that we will capture that image 24/7, and we send that to our processor, and then the processor will convert the image into data, and from there it'll be sent back from the lane to our head-end management system, where one of 2 things will occur. Either we will have our specific application software, such as what Sean mentioned for a standalone access control system, or we'll have an interface to our optional third-party client where we'll send data to them and they will manage our data. Reliability, it's an important slide. 10 years ago, we were pretty much operating in the analog world. Accuracy rates were maybe 85%, and the cost per lane, without drilling down, was it's a fair adjective, very expensive, which meant that you had to have a very expensive problem to utilize license plate recognition to solve your problem. Today, accuracy rates, because we're now in the IP world and algorithms that are so far advanced in terms of where they were 10 years ago, that 95%, and this is verified within the tolling world, where they have 2,000 to 3,000 vehicles per lane per hour, and consultants are counting plates and scoring it and slicing it and dicing it, and they try to get that number down, but 95% is a fair number for our technology for read rate. Cost per lane, again, without drilling down, I think the right word is dramatic. I would safely say your cost per lane has come down apples to apples by 70, 80% of where it was 10 years ago. So what we're finding is there's a tremendous horizontal growth, and people that are saying, you know, for that price, it's a good add-on to our existing video management or access control system. It solves the problem. Low maintenance, seamless integration, 10 years life expectancy, pretty common. And one of the reasons that the price has dramatically come down is a product that we call the IZA 500. I know it sounds like advertising, but we're taking the imager, the software, and the processor, and we're putting it all in one housing out at the lane. So all you need to do is power it up, mount it, aim it, and coming out of the IZA 500 is an XML data stream, which is 50, 60 kilobytes of data, which is much easier to manage, even though we may have as much as a 5 megapixel high-speed imager in there. Once we create the event, everything is deleted in the processor except for that event, which is then sent downstream to the IZ server at the head end. Challenges. As I walk trade shows and I see offerings by very reputable camera companies like Axis and Panasonic and Sony and Samsung, Toshiba, and all the other ones, they're all offering what they call a license plate reader camera or a license plate capture camera. But when you break it down, what it really is, and this is the misnomer in the industry, it's a CCTV video camera. Yes, it is a high-resolution, high-definition video camera, but it's only 25 or so, 24, 25 frames per second, and it's light-sensitive. No matter how sensitive it is, it cannot operate at 0.0 lux. There's two examples here on the left. This is a highway in Georgia. You can see the Jeep 20 feet ahead of you. It's impossible to see the license plate. In fact, you can't even see the green interstate sign. Typical highway scenario for reading license plates is that. And then on the right is the classic headlights on with a car. How do you read that license plate with a video camera? And if that's not difficult enough, you take a look at the sampling of license plates in the upper right-hand corner, especially in the States. License plates are generated by all 50 states as profit centers. So they've got artists involved, and Oregon's got trees, and Wyoming has got cowboys, and Utah's got the archway of Zion National Park, and all of that is what we call background noise. And unless you have the right imager, it affects your accuracy. So those three factors alone have categorized license plate recognition into two buckets here in the United States. Systems that read sometimes, and there is a market for systems that work sometimes when the lighting is perfect, the car is stopped, the moon is shining the right way, life is good. And then there's systems that operate 24/7. There's a few license plate reader companies that can do it. We'd like to say we're leading the way. Just talk about speed. Again, this is a good depiction of a car traveling at 60, 70 miles an hour. As the license plate goes through the field of view, it's coming into focus and it's going out of focus. Anybody who's a physics major, if a car is traveling 60 miles an hour, how many feet per second is it doing? At 240 fields per second, how many images are we capturing? The answer is we're getting a good 8 or 9. One of those is going to be perfect at varying contrast levels. If you look on the lower left side there, the California plate, you can see the different shutter exposure speeds from 1/5000 to 1/100,000. In actuality, the one on the lower left will not produce an accurate read, but the one on the top in black and white, California, will. So it's critical with speed, any kind of speed, that you have a high-speed imager and you have the techniques that we incorporate on our imager for accuracy. And then on the right, again, we've got day or night and how we would read a typical plate. Those are headlights that have brights on. Big picture, kind of a random partners of who we have in our core competencies, access control, and this is by no means a finite list. NVR, DVR, VMS, revenue, parking, and tolling. Every one of these partners have the same commonality, which is we send our data to them. It goes through their data port. They manage our data. So, for example, if you had a 50-camera license plate reader system connected to ONSSI, or NICE or Verint, they're not going to charge you 50 additional licenses because it is not a video feed, but rather a data feed. Couple of sample integrations. I'm talking about how we interface with our various partners. This is how the data is displayed. So on the lower right with SKIDATA, that's how they have their exception reporting and how they show the information presented for license plates that are either unexited or license plates. The one screen that shows vehicles that are still in the facility. The one on the right is showing an exception report where the plate coming in is not matched up with the plate coming out in the ticket, and it's rejected. In the access control world, now we shift gears again, and we're talking about how we function as a card reader, as I said, as an alternate credential or a dual credential, how it's managed through LENEL. Most of those settings on LENEL are default, but again, we're creating a record of events. ONSSI, this is their screen. Again, everything goes back to the journal viewer, which is a central point where INEX units in the field terminate information. Important thing on the journal viewer is that it's a diagnostic tool. So each one of those dots would represent a different lane of INEX coverage. Green dot means system is up, running, and communicating with the head end. Red dot means that communications link is broken. Maybe a truck hit the camera, maybe it was a power blackout, maybe a lot of things. So before it even goes on to our clients, such as ONSSI, there is a screen of the availability of going into the system and making sure that everything, in fact, is healthy. So on any one of our integrations, you will always see the INEX journal viewer. Installation and maintenance, pretty self-explanatory. There really isn't any mechanical moving parts. Common question we have on installation and maintenance is operating temperatures. Well, we know what Palm Desert is in the summertime, 115 plus, and we have several deployments in Canada, up in the oil sands area, where it routinely gets 20, 30 below zero. Not an issue. When we sell a system through our authorized dealer base, we provide all of the documentation required. We provide training to our integrators, on-site or remote, and we provide documentation for all of our software, and we have a number of different types of upgrades and support programs, so that buying the equipment through INEX is just the start. I'd like to think that almost all of our customers, even customers from 15, 20 years ago using analog systems, still fairly happy. Thank you. Questions? Anna, we're good to go?
I'm looking if anyone raises the hand, so please take a look at the right-hand side of your menu.
Sure. And I might add that anyone in the Southern California area with any type of questions, any type of detailed information, any type of collateral material, please do not hesitate to call any of the folks at Bassett. They are my oldest rep. We've been doing business together for a good 10 years, and I thank them for putting this together. They, as usual, did a great job.
Okay, I don't see. Oh yes, just a second.
By the way, I'm Chuck Bartolomeo. I'm not Roman. I think Anna put a. Yeah, we can certainly do that. Again, go through Bassett. I will be delighted to give anybody my V card. Roman's the CEO of our company. If you want his V card, you can have it as well.
Chuck, this is Jeff. I was thinking during the presentation that maybe it might make sense to sort of reemphasize again on some of the aspects about maybe the illumination and some of the other specific technology types. What is it about ALPR today that makes it no longer that, that mystical, unknown technology that's out there, and now it's really something that's much more widely accepted? If you can expound on that.
Yeah, it's about the accuracy. 7-10 years ago, the biggest portion of the license plate recognition marketplace was law enforcement, was police cars. I'm sure everybody has seen the police car with the license plate reader system on the back. And what folks didn't realize is that analog system, and we sell it as well. I'm not really that excited about it, but it's a system that I call a fishing system. So the police car will go around up and down highways looking for a bad guy. What they never told you was 50% of those vehicles were not exact matches. You'll have question marks in the syntax where you didn't get the right license plate. And a police officer only cares about the match, doesn't care about all the misses. And that was the biggest portion of the license plate recognition world. And most of the technology and efforts were put into the back office and downloading and various watch lists and folder lists. However, in the last 4 or 5 years with the advent of IP technology, accuracy has become very, very important. Fixed systems have become very, very important. And particularly in the security world, security directors want accuracy. They don't want question marks in their database. Nobody wants a license plate ABC12 question mark because it's not positive identification. How do we do that? It's really a question of the 180 LEDs that are in our DY series imager. It's a question of the shutter, which is non-rolling at varying speeds. It's a synchronization circuitry. We're using, without drilling down too deeply, and we do have presentations that show this, but we're using that same type of high-speed machine vision camera that if anybody watches a football game and you watch it in slow motion, that's what we're doing. We're looking at that license plate. We're getting many more looks per second than a conventional CCTV camera. And as a result, all we need is one image. Again, we're looking for contrast. License plates, all American license plates, are in fact reflective. Either the letters are reflective or the background is reflective. And by tuning our imagers to the right wavelength of California or Florida or wherever it might be, we can very accurately have data. And we're finding more and more today accurate data is much more important than inaccurate data. Hopefully I answered your question, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you. That was perfect. And if there's not any other questions out there, I would follow up with just how it is that our new IZ500 is able to tackle a lot of those issues in creating higher accuracy levels.
Go ahead.
Right. So I don't know. I don't see if there's any additional questions. The IZ500, of course, is our newest model of imager that we introduced early and maybe towards the middle of last year. And to Chuck's point about the accuracy, the fact that it's an all-digital imager now and has built-in processing capability as well in certain models has really enabled the technology to be advanced really far now into, I guess one way to think about it is now that rather than it just being, this LPR technology with a lot of moving parts and such, it's really closer now to an appliance that you purchase and you deploy, and it just provides results for you in some way. And then you can really kind of concentrate on how you want to go about utilizing those results. But we're really pleased with how our IZ500 now has really taken us towards that ability to be really more of an appliance with ALPR technology now.
Thank you, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Oh, yes,
Okay.
just a second, I have a question. Let me unmute Betsy just a second. Yes, Betsy, you can ask your question.
Hi there. Are there locations in Southern California that we can actually visit? Do you know if you haven't
many,
to be willing
many
to host?
yes, many locations, and I'll categorize them so that the application may be similar to what you're using. In the gated community world, both Southern California and Palm Desert, which I don't know how many gated communities we have over there. Airports, there's 4 or 5 different airports in the Los Angeles area that are utilizing Burbank, John Wayne, Orange County, and some others. Colleges and universities, many, many different applications, yes.
Okay, super. Thank you.
You can work through Bassett, find out which one is closest to you. I think probably if you wanted a reference, we may be able to show an application with the new IZ500, which is really light years ahead of everything else that we have in Southern California. Again, it was just introduced mid-last year. Those deployments are in process or recently deployed. But yes, with our traditional technology, I can give you customers that can say, yeah, we bought it 10 years ago and we're happy with it.
Sure.
The problem is those folks paid so much money, they have no intention of letting go of it.
Understand. So that's great. We work with the good Bassett folks in Burbank, and we'll chase after this through their connection.
And you are with who, if I might ask?
SSD Systems.
Sure. Okay. Yes. Okay. I know who you are. You work with Kim, Scott, Todd, any one of them.
Great. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Chuck, I see that Sean is asking for the list of reference for each vertical, and I guess we can provide it to everyone a little bit later on via email, unless you want to go a little bit over the companies with which we are.
When it comes to references, folks, what I've discovered is I like to make sure that a reference is exactly what the end user is looking for. So if it's a college, I'd like to give a college another reference, because a college doesn't care what the gated community is doing or what they're doing in a toll road. So and I may put someone in California in touch with somebody in Florida or somebody in New York. It really depends. But I found that when it comes to references, it really is apples to apples.
Any other questions? Anybody else? Chuck, I think this is it.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending. Again, focus on Bassett. If you've got any questions, you want V-cards, contacts, we're delighted to work with you. And be advised that any of our products are made in our factory. Unlike CCTV products, our standard delivery is 6 weeks. That's something we just can't get around. INEX will be stocking some of our products, but not all of them. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for attending, and I will send a copy of presentation a little bit later on.
Thank you, folks. Have a good afternoon or morning.
Thank you. Bye.